So it's really brilliant to hear about all of your work, kind of furthering the understanding of pain and how we can start to address that in our clinical settings. Here at CARICE, of course, we're really interested in how we build a resilient kind of population. So do you think there are things that we can learn from the work that you've been doing in autoimmune conditions that can translate to other pro-inflammatory conditions that we see really commonly in older people?
Yeah, well, I would like to think so, because I think pain is across so many different diseases. It doesn't have to have an autoimmune basis.
Yeah.
And it's, of course, in cancer, in other musculoskeletal disorders that are not autoimmune based. So it applies to so many different, potentially to so many different disorders. So I think what I'd like to think is perhaps some of the molecules that we study might not be translatable necessarily to the other conditions, but I think what is really important is people start to pay more attention to pain in a variety of different disorders, and that we start to adapt perhaps how we look at some diseases to include more emphasis on pain, but also other neuroimmune interactions in their research.
Yeah.
And what is your area of research? What are you working on?
So my work very much focuses on how we use kind of knowledge gathered through basic science, through epidemiological studies, and from clinical trials to implement that into clinical pathways for older people. So my personal kind of work focuses very much on the perioperative setting. So how do we best assess, optimize, deliver shared decision making for older people often living with multiple long-term conditions, frailty, dementia, through the surgical pathway, and how we work together with surgeons and anaesthetists to change the models of care that we currently have, so that instead of them being specialty focused, they end up being patient-centered, but we're using the latest evidence to underpin that. But of course, that raises lots of challenges around implementation and how we work with other collaborators from implementation science, with health economists, to really kind of focus in on clinically and cost-effective interventions that are going to support the NHS in the long term.
Yeah, and it's really fascinating. And I think, again, it really shows that you need to take so much more into account than just the response to a surgery is so different and can be influenced by so many different aspects in a person's life that is probably not really always considered.
No, that's right. And I think, often lots of us see that with our friends and families, don't we? And we see disjointed care happening because we end up having very much a specialty-centered focus rather than a holistic approach to what's happening to that individual. So a lot of the work that I do partly here, or kind of at KCL and at Guy's and St Thomas's, is also then amplified through my role at the British Geriatric Society at disseminating that knowledge and getting knowledge mobilization out there.
I think that's a very important component of everything we're trying to do, is also, spreading it out to the community and seeking more voices from the people who are actually affected by it.
Yeah.
Great.